Hello, everybody. Welcome to Professor DiMaggio's Gaming. I'm going to be starting a new series, beginning with this video, of advanced guides for new master players with Rashid. I realized when people asked me to do a new advanced guide that there was just too much material to cover in a single video, unless people wanted the video to be a couple hours long. So what I'm going to be doing instead is breaking up the video into one or two segments, one or two clips a week of individual parts of Rashid's gameplay to help beginner master players, for if you're looking to improve with the character, whether it's in casuals or battle hub or ranked or whatever. So what we're going to be looking at here is we're going to be looking at shimmies in particular, different drills for how to more effectively shimmy and different strategies for how to effectively use it with Rashid. And we're going to look particularly at a few different situations where shimmies are effective. One of those is getting the opponent to whiff on their throw and to punish that. And then the other one is for YOLO wake-up players who like to push regularly, their EXDP or a super. So, in those kind of situations, it's good to actually have something to be able to use. So for anyone who's not aware, a shimmy is defined pretty simply as moving in and out of the range of an opponent's attacks to try and elicit some kind of a response that you can punish, typically through, a combo and trying to maximize your combo damage. As you're seeing here with Rashid, he walks forward, he walks back. Typical button you can use to punish that if someone whiffs on their throw trying to get to you is a heavy punch into the heavy cyclone, roll forward into a heavy mixer. The thing about Rashid, though, is he's not your average character in the sense that he has a run. So what that means is it actually ends up being a lot easier, as you can see here. It gives you a lot more maneuverability to actually do those shimmies on your opponent's wake-up when you knock them down. For example, after a medium mixer, as you're seeing here. And because he has that extra maneuverability, it just overall makes it easier to use this technique. Also, Rashid has moves, as you can see here, like the eagle spike that shoot him forward. So even if technically it's not a traditional shimmy like you would think of walking forward and walking back, those special moves like the eagle spike do shoot him forward. They push him forward, and you're able, as you can see here, to walk back, and it's really the sort of same effect as if you were walking forward and back in terms of being able to do that shimmy. So this is another added bonus of this character and his offense. So in line with my point about some of Rashid's offensive moves that operate like it's a shimmy, pushing you forward and then allowing you to walk back after because you've got a lot of recovery time for your opponent, you can see how this kind of non-traditional shimmy can be useful in an actual match. This is just an example from a match I was playing today with another master player, a Master JP. And you can see watching this, I've got setting up a shot into pushing forward, pushing buttons, counter, drive impact, and there's the actual heavy punch into medium eagle spike. And you'll notice here the two crouching medium punches. Typically, this is a meaty setup with Rashid, where if you do the crouching medium punch once, twice, and then the third time, the third one hits meaty, and it also allows you after to hit his target combo. After the crouching medium punch, you hit standing medium punch and heavy kick, and all three of those things end up being plus and in their face, which is a really extraordinary, awesome setup. But what I'm doing here is I'm assuming that the person knows that that's going to happen because people are familiar with this meaty setup. It's a pretty common one. So what I'm doing here is I'm baiting, and I'm setting up a walk back for the shimmy so that when he wakes up, well, maybe he'll do something. Maybe he'll try to push a button, and in this case, he does. He does the OD amnesia, and I can punish that, right? As I walk back, and just give it a second, and then do the standing heavy kick into the heavy mixer for punish. And as you can see, this ends up making a difference in the entire round. This is a real stuff you can use in a match that made the difference in this particular round in terms of winning and losing. You might ask, why rely regularly on shimmies when you have something like a safe jump? You can see different safe jump setups that I'm going through here. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm only really comfortable with maybe 6 different safe jump setups. As you can see, I'm showing them all on the screen here. They're good. They're all different for different situations. But the problem that comes up is that, once you do a safe jump once or twice, the enemy, the opponent, is already familiar with what you're doing. So you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. And that's where the shimmy comes in on Wake Up. It really helps in terms of being able to play mind games with your opponent. And then they have to guess in terms of whether you're going to push a button or whether you're going to shimmy and walk back. So that's an important thing to have. The shimmy is a complement. It's a complement to your safe jump game, where you have these different tools and techniques to continue an offense, but to deal with players who are volatile, in terms of players who like to push buttons on Wake Up, and particularly things that will overrule whatever button you're pushing for your meaty, like let's say they push an EX DP reversal, or let's say a super or something like that. Just to be clear, no technique in this game or any fighting game is infallible or undefeatable. So there are, there is, or at least one big weakness for shimmies is that, if you become too predictable and somebody knows that you're doing it a lot, they can just wait for you to walk forward and back, as you're seeing here. And you are susceptible, even if you're walking back, and that allows you to block. If they do a high attack, you're susceptible to lows. So somebody who you have in the corner can do a crouching medium kick into a drive rush cancel. In this case with Rashid, a medium kick into a standing heavy punch into a medium eagle spike. And what's happening there is, because if you were too reliant on it, for example, and somebody knew it was coming or they suspected it was, they can push you back, right? And then you just go back to sort of mid-screen. You've really squandered your advantage in terms of having them in the corner. So that's something to keep in mind. Every technique has a weakness, and this is the particular weakness for a shimmy. It's susceptible to low attacks if you're too predictable with it. So the reason why this is such a big deal when you talk about YOLO players and wake-ups like an EXDP is because if you have this technique, if you have the shimmy, as you can see here, finishing up a combo, Rashid walks forward, he walks back, and if you have an aggressive player who likes to do attacks on wake up like EX moves, this gives you a powerful weapon to protect against that, because those kinds of wake up moves can really change the trajectory of a round very quickly, whereas you were on the offensive. If you get hit with one of those wake-up DPs, now you are on the defensive, and it's not just the damage, but it's the fact that now the other player is on the offensive too that makes this potentially significant. If a player does this, let's say, even one of every 4 or 5 interactions, it can totally change the outcome of a match. If someone's doing it, let's say, one of every 4 interactions, one of every 5, it changes who's in control of the match. It adds damage to you that you're not getting yourself if you're not doing these kinds of wake-up DPs and wake-up supers. So being able to protect against it is absolutely important. When you realize that you have a YOLO player, you want to actively incorporate shimmy more into your game plan. And I would say, the amount that you rely on shimmy should be directly dependent on the amount your opponent does YOLO on their wake-ups. If they're doing a lot of YOLO, then you should be doing a lot more shimmying to bait them. If they're not really doing a lot of YOLO on wake-up, you don't want to become too predictable in using shimmy all the time over and over, so you should be using a lot less of it relative to how much you'd be using if they were more aggressive on their wake-up. So what we're going to be doing for the rest of this video is looking at examples of specific things you can lab out in Training Room with Rashid and get comfortable with the timing of these. And so you're not going to see me in the training room. I already recorded all of these. You'll see me on the screen here, but not in real time as I record this. So yeah, it just gives you a sense of the different things you can do in terms of building shimmy into your game and the different ways to do it without being too predictable. There are some much more exotic ways than just walking forward or back with Rashid. One of those is to do an EX shot. You do a cartwheel and then walk back just a little bit to try and bait out either an EX DP or a super or a whiff for the throw. And you can very quickly after, as you see, just step back a tiny bit, a half step, and do the heavy kick into the heavy mixer, which is one of his number of different punishes. A second really good setup for what you're seeing here, and these first two are non-traditional shimmies, right? Because you're not walking forward, but you're doing something else. In this one, you're doing a charge shot, the EX charge shot into a enhanced light mixer. You could technically do a regular charge shot and do an enhanced light mixer too, either way. And then walking back, trying to bait them to get a throw whiff, or an EXDP or a super, and then punishing this case with, after the walk back, a heavy punch into a heavy cyclone, into the roll, into the heavy mixer to finish. Technically, that punish combo is optimal, giving you 29% damage if somebody whiffs on an attack. I don't always like to do this, to be honest, because there's a debate to be had about between what's easiest to execute and what's most optimal regarding what you should be doing in a match. And technically, as an advanced player, yeah, you should be able to do the optimal one every time. But what ends up happening a lot of the time with the controls for this game is that you're going to be walking back and doing the heavy punch. And if you don't get it just exactly precise and you push even just the tiniest little bit down and back as you get ready to move into the heavy cyclone, which is a down to back, quarter circle back motion. Sometimes what will happen with Rashid is he'll just do a crouching heavy punch instead, and it'll ruin your whole punish. So for that reason, a lot of times when I'm in matches, I won't necessarily do this optimal punish. I might just do the standing heavy kick into heavy mixer because it's going to give you a little bit less damage, but you're not going to have to worry about that perfect execution. So keep this in mind as a new master player, or if you haven't been a master player for a while of this game's life, that sometimes the easier thing is the much more the better thing to do. And it's kind of almost more optimal in the sense that, well, it gives you less damage. If you're getting the punish right 10 times out of 10 versus 7 times out of 10 for a more optimal punish that you can't execute well, then it's obviously better to do the one that you're going to execute every time. You're going to be more likely to win matches that way. Sometimes you get people who like to delay throw tech, as I've talked about in previous videos. Maybe you do a drive rush into a fast hit and try to throw them, and they tech the throw because they are used to predicting that you're going to throw after a quick strike throw mix-up, right? So that can be really frustrating, as you're seeing here, if somebody's doing it over and over in a match. The way to deal with that with Shimmy is to just walk back a little bit, as you see there. And if they are doing the delayed throw tech over and over, it's actually them doing it and it's not a script they're running that they're cheating and automatically picking up every time that you throw. If it's actually them doing it, right, you should be able to catch that whiff on that throw, right, just by walking back that tiny bit with the shimmy and punishing. In this case, with the heavy kick into the heavy mixer. So shimmy is really powerful with Rashid after a throw or a throw loop. If you've got him in the corner and you manage to throw him once, you can go for the throw loop for the second throw, right? Or you could just try it after one throw, but you run forward and walk back just a little bit. And if you can bait out the throw whiff, you can do all types of nasty stuff, right? Heavy punch into the roll, heavy cyclone into the heavy mixer, as you can see there. It's the psychology of this that makes it so nasty if you do it after a throw loop, because by the time you get to the second throw, if you on the throw loop, they're going to be expecting a third throw, and so that's when the shimmy becomes even more devastating and devious and degenerate, I guess you could say. You know, you get the first two throws, that's 24% damage, and then whatever combo damage you get after that. If you have a punish combo, and you're talking about maybe 50% damage off of this really simple sequence of doing a throw and then another throw and then doing the shimmy, right? Pretty nasty stuff, but incredibly effective, as people who have seen this, who watch my videos and my highlight reels. As you saw near the beginning of the video, there are some non-traditional shimmies, including heavy punch into medium eagle spike, where you can do the crouching medium punch once, twice, and instead of doing the third one, which hits meaty, you walk back just ever so slightly, as you can see there, to try and bait a response that you can punish. This also works on another combo if you do the heavy cyclone, as you can see here, into the push forward, into the heavy kick in the air. You're still the same amount of plus as you were in the last combo, so you can do the two crouching medium punches and then walk back as well, and it's the same amount of time and the same shimmy for punish. Nice damage. Another really cool shimmy that I just recently started doing is you have your drive rush startup, whatever that is, into the EX cyclone, and you run forward. You just do a quick dash, actually, after the EX cyclone, and you can catch them with the heavy mixer. And because you've now caught them with a heavy mixer as you brought them to the corner with the corner carry, you can actually run forward just a little bit and walk back and get a shimmy in here too, as you see there. So let's watch that again. You get the drive rush set up, right? Medium punch, heavy kick. heavy cyclone, dash forward into the heavy mixer, run forward and back, and shimmy, punish. Another good setup is that you can do a drive rush fast button, like a drive rush crouching light kick, into the target combo, into an EX cyclone. Do the run kicks as you bring them to the corner. Finish with a heavy or a light, or excuse me, a medium mixer there. And what you're noticing there is that I whiffed my fastest button, which is standing light kick. If you whiff a medium kick, that's a perfect setup, a frame kill for if you want to do an actual throw. But if you want to bait them to do a throw, you're just going to get a throw tech if you do the medium kick whiff. So you want to bait something faster, the standing light kick, and then walk back. And then as you can see here, you've got enough time to actually walk back, and they'll whiff on the throw, and then you can punish that. So let's watch that again all the way through. You get the drive rush, target combo, EX cyclone, run kicks, medium mixer, whiff the button, walk back, punish. Not bad. Or maybe you don't want to whiff the standing light kick at all. Maybe you just want to walk back after one of your mixers. Let's say you do a heavy mixer, as you can see here. So you do your corner carry combo, right? Take him to the corner, you finish with the heavy mixer right here. You just walk back right there and do a heavy punch. Why is that so good? I have found through tens of thousands of matches with Rashid, I don't know what it is. I have to suspect that a lot of people will try to push a button because as you're walking back, maybe they feel psychologically like they've got more space and they can push a button. But it's a false amount of space, because what you can do is, with enough practice, if you go into the training room and do this, you can set the dummy on whatever fastest button you want to have them on wake up, like a standing light punch or something. You can actually lab it out to the point where you get so good with your muscle memory that you can do this as a manually timed meaty. You walk back and you just, I actually trained myself to do this playing real live matches, just doing the walk back into heavy punch, and eventually I do it second nature now. But I think that it's the people's false sense of security that you've got that space to work with as you're walking back. They think they can push buttons. So this works a lot. And so there are a lot of things you can do off of the walk back shimmy heavy punch in the corner. And one of those, as you saw here, if you watch this again, is the heavy punch into heavy cyclone, roll into heavy mixer, right? So you can see it all here again, taking him to the corner, heavy mixer, walk back, manually timed meaty heavy punch, into roll into heavy mixer. If you've got a YOLO player, you can do the same sequence and let them hang themselves. So you go all the way to the corner with the heavy mixer, and then you walk back and just keep walking back. Maybe just wait a little bit longer to start your walk back. And with the YOLO player, they're going to do something probably like a EXDP, as he did here. And then you can just really light them up after that. And when you block, heavy punch, heavy cyclone, roll into the rolling nail kick. You can actually do something as devastating as like a level 3 super here too. And then you're talking about something like close to half of their health bar being depleted just from that one YOLO move, as you can see. Let's watch that again. We got the corner carry from the drive rush into the run kicks into the heavy mixer. You just wait a little bit to start walking back with the shimmy. You block the YOLO DP, and then you punish into the super. A lot of damage there, almost for free if it's a YOLO player and you know that it's coming. Like on the corner carry into the corner after the heavy mixer, I like walking back with the shimmy into the meaty heavy punch and then going for an EX cyclone, as you can see here. Now this is where you got to hit confirm. If you walk back and you don't connect on the heavy punch there, or let's see, if you don't connect on the heavy punch or the EX cyclone, well then you don't want to go further with this combo. But if you do connect on the heavy punch and the heavy cyclone, you can really light them up by going into an EX mixer, into a medium sky high, into a medium punch in the air, into a level 3 here as well. And you're talking about in the neighborhood of around 50% damage as well. And so that's nice to have that hit confirm with this. Let's watch that again. You got the drive rush into the corner carry with the run kicks and the heavy mixer. You walk back with the shimmy, heavy punch, meaty, the EX cyclone if you hit confirm into the EX mixer, and then the rest into the level 3. Pretty devastating stuff and a lot of protection for you in terms of not having to go through the whole EX combo if you don't hit confirm. Really like a lot that I've been using lately is the same corner carry into the heavy mixer and the walk back into the manually timed meaty heavy punch, and then going straight into a DI after that. Why is that good? Obviously, they can counter DI it if they're expecting it, so you don't want to get predictable with this kind of stuff. But what the heavy punch into DI gives you protection on is them being able to jump out. They're not going to be able to jump out if you have the heavy punch as a meaty into the corner, so that makes this really strong to follow up with the DI. You have a high percentage likelihood here from when I've done this in matches of landing this, and really the only thing that's going to save them at that point is if they counter DI, and so that makes this particularly vicious and nasty if they're burnt out in the corner, because they ain't getting out of this. Short of like a wake-up super at that point, that's the only way they would get out of it. So if we want to watch this again, the combo I'm doing at the end here after the DI is the one I traditionally talk about in these videos. It's the heavy punch into heavy punch, light cyclone, rolling nail, heavy mixer. So let's watch that all again. You got the corner, the drive rush into the corner carry, the run kicks, the heavy mixer, the walk back, meaty heavy punch into DI, and then the punish combo after. Pretty nasty stuff, a lot of damage here. One last iteration that I've only recently started doing, but it's pretty good too, is you do the drive rush into the corner carry combo, into the heavy mixer, you do the shimmy back into the heavy punch meaty, and then you go for an EX shot, whirlwind shot. And again, you can hit confirm, obviously. You don't have to go any further with this combo if you don't connect on the heavy punch and the whirlwind shot. Then you would go into a forward medium punch, and you'd cancel that into a medium mixer, into a level 1. So let's watch that again. In total, that one's about 30% damage. So I really like this one a lot, because if they get hit on the heavy punch or the EX shot after, all the rest of it's just free damage. Okay, the very last setup I'm going to show you is one that you can lab really easily if you go in a training room. It's actually fast as hell too, which is why I like to use it in matches. It's a drive rush into crouching medium punch. As you know, the crouching medium punch doesn't have great range, but all of a sudden it has great range if you do it as part of a drive rush. So it's real fast, and it's got good range with the drive rush, only 1 bar. And then you hit crouching medium kick, which ends up being a combo because you're so plus after the crouching medium punch drive rush. Then you can link that. You can cancel that crouching medium kick into a light mixer. And so the light mixer itself, this is a good way to get the light mixer baked into a combo, can then be used because it's such a fast move. You can do the walk back shimmy after that and then try to punish somebody too if they throw a whiff. Because usually people are expecting a throw after the light mixer, because throw is meaty after light mixer. So people have come to expect that Rashid's going to do that, and you can really sort of subvert their expectations here by doing the shimmy and punishing, as you see. So we'll watch that one more time. You do the drive rush, crouching medium punch, crouching medium kick, light mixer, into the walk back shimmy, and then the punish. So I hope viewers found this video useful, just showing some practical applications at an advanced level for how to use shimmy with Rashid once you get to master level or close to it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed and you want to be, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you all on the next video. As you can see with this one, it took more than 20 minutes, so expect about that length for this series. It takes really that much time to really go through with any care and thought how to use these different mechanics in the game and tech. Thanks again.